My name is Renee Wilhelm. I am an occupational therapist at the Wood County Board of Developmental Disabilities in the occupational therapy section. I am going to be presenting on assistive technology for aging. I do want to note that this was recorded at the end of March of 2026, and so any new technology that has come out since then will not be discussed in this presentation. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to cover technology that help with aging in place, or the aging with personal care, health management, mobility aids, home safety, household management, meal preparation, and social participation. Diving right into personal care, these would consist of things that would be used for dressing, toileting, grooming, showering, etc. All the things that we use to take care of ourselves. Something we can consider is a soap dispenser, whether that be a automatic soap dispenser by the faucet or a product dispenser in the shower. Universal cuffs can also be really helpful. This is a strap that goes around the back of your hand and it attaches to utensils such as a toothbrush or a comb or a brush to make it easier for someone who has a hard time holding on to a small handle. Speaking of handles, excuse me. Speaking of handles, a steady utensil for eating. This would be something that can stabilize, such as the Janot spoon or a swivel spoon that helps if somebody has a hard time with stability and the food falling off, or you can even get utensils that are weighted or built up if someone has a hard time with grasp or they need the extra weighted component. Motion activated lights could be a resource that you'd put in like the bedroom, bathroom. So when someone gets up or enters that room, the light would turn on for them. Smart speakers are a way that we also help initiate the task where the speaker would announce that it's time to maybe take a shower or build that into their routine. You can have a timer that would help set when it's time to initiate one of these tasks, or maybe it's time to end one of these tasks. Fall detection pendants are really popular to help if someone were to fall when they're getting ready, especially in the bathroom. If we think about that, we want to make sure that we are having the privacy. Fall detection or motion sensors can be really helpful. If you see in the middle of the screen here, those are two cameras that could potentially help in the bathroom, only because they are thermodynamic or they are like the stick figure. So I cannot see any body parts about these individuals in this picture. I don't know if they're naked or dressed, but I do know that they are standing. So if there's someone that's a fall risk or potential seizure risk, this could potentially be an option for them. The bidet is a really popular item for us in Wood County. This is something you can attach to the toilet, help them with hygiene. There are even portable bidets or peri bottles, things that they can use to clean themselves, as well as like flushable or disposable wipes and toileting tongs or assistance if someone has a hard time reaching. Motion sensors, again, I kind of touch base on those to make sure that we are instilling their privacy. Sleep trainer clocks, those are usually indicate like a light to let someone know when it's time to go to sleep or when it's time to wake up. They can also have some sound associated with them. Hatch is one, for example, that you can set a program where the light will start to slowly increase its brightness as the morning progresses, or can change color at a certain time to indicate when it's time to get up. The Obi robot feeder is that bottom picture down there. This is a device to help somebody feed themselves. It's controlled by switch buttons. So you'd push one button to move the plate and the other button would move that arm with the spoon attached to it. The arm would scoop the plate up or the food off the plate and bring it right up to your mouth. If you have someone that's using that, please be careful that you are still utilizing supervision, and especially if they have a choking risk. The Dignity Lift is another option for the toilet. That's what's in this picture here. This is essentially like a lift chair that you may have seen as a recliner chair. There's a button on the front here of the handle. You push that and it would raise them up to standing or to sitting. There's also a emergency call button that's available on the other handle that you can push to notify somebody if you need help. And some of them also have a bidet feature built into those. And then bathroom shower renovations might also be helpful for somebody to take care of their personal care. Assistive technology for home management. There are so many resources within the medication management world, whether that ranges from like a bubble blister pack to a medication dispenser There are 3 medication dispensers on here. The top one that has like a month supply that you can store the medication in that. Those are just simple caddies. They have other ones where your medication is inside a device. It dispenses at a certain time into like a cup, like the Medicube, where you would have that cup of the medication. The bottom one is the dispenser. The medication comes in a pouch on that one. And then the one in the middle, that's the Dose Flip. That is from Dose Health. This is a more popular one for us. This has an alarm built into it. And when the alarm goes off, the disc will rotate underneath the lid. And then you flip the device over, and that's how it decides if you've taken your medication. You can get a notification, text, phone call, or email to caregivers to let them know if the device was not flipped, if the lid was removed, if the trays need to be refilled, etc. There are other smart scales, thermostats, blood pressure cuffs, pulse ox, etc. Different ways that you can collect information about your vitals and your health status, and you can share that with your doctor or your caregivers. Smart watches can do a variety of things. One could be tracking our fitness level, maybe helping us just get more steps in our day. They can also track our oxygen, our heart rate, other of those fitness activities. There is a boundary care watch that is an Apple Watch with some technology built into it that can help detect for seizures. So this would decide or pick up if there's abnormal tonic-clonic movement, if there's a fall, if there's changes in heart rate or oxygen, and then there would be a protocol associated with that and what to do if they detected a seizure. Other potential seizure monitors are like the MFit bed mat or the SamiCam, different ways to help provide those resources. The continuous glucose monitor, those are the common ones that you normally see like on somebody's arm, like the white disc. Those can transmit to an app that will let you know what your blood sugar range are. And it's actually interesting. You can pair that with something like the sonic bomb alarm, where if your app is making a sound indicating that your blood sugar levels are out of range and the alarm clock hears that sound, it would make a loud alarm sound, and can also pair that with like a bed shaker or plug a lamp into that to turn on the light, just to allow somebody who may be having low blood sugar to wake up and go ahead and eat or drink something to help stabilize their sugar. Looking into mobility, I will say that mobility, it's not one size fits all. So if you have concerns with someone's ability to get around or their balance, I would talk to their doctor. But there are options such as the canes, walkers, wheelchairs, different transfer aids such as like a super pole, pivot disc, there's ceiling lifts, um, mobile like Hoyer lifts. All those are available to help somebody have a little bit more mobility within their house. Um, the handy bar is the picture of this gentleman getting out of the vehicle. If you can see, he's holding this little red handle that actually slides in and out of the frame of the car right where the door latch is. So he can use this to help him stand up or to sit back down. And then once he is in his position, he just pulls it right out of there, and you can easily store that in your door or in your glove box. If someone needs access to their house, consider ramps or even a porch lift that is almost like an elevator. You can sit on the platform and it'll raise you up to like the height of your porch or your steps. Stair climbers or lifts are another option. They do have some manual lifts that someone sits on. You can help bump them up or down the steps. There are other stair climbers that have a track that attaches to your stairs, and then on that track is a chair, and the individual would sit on that chair and go up or down the track on the steps. Automatic door openers are another way to help some mobility around the house. The picture here, this is the U-Control door opener. This is designed for interior doors where you can cover the latch. The way it works is the latch isn't shut, so that way when you push the button, this wheel will turn to either pull the door open or push it shut. There's also more new technology coming out of a company that's making a automatic door opener for like the front door that it's easy to install yourself, where if you can push a button, it will unlatch the door for you, keep that unlatched, and then a wheel will open and close the door. So that will be coming out soon, hopefully. The other picture down here, this is a bath lift chair. I have had some success with insurance covering the cost of this lift, along with the other mobility devices such as lifts and wheelchairs. But essentially this one, you would sit on it and it would lower you down into the tub. If you think about taking a bath and how hard it is to get out of the tub, This would be ideal for someone who likes to soak or get in the tub. You would sit in this chair. It even reclines back once it's down in the tub. And then when it's time to get up, you push the button and it'll raise the seat all the way up to the top of the tub height. And then you can help the individual get off from there. And then we always encourage having good lighting in the house so that way reduces the risk of falling. So again, maybe a motion activated light or a light that you have paired with your Alexa or your Google or even an app on your phone. That way you can get around safely with good visibility. All right, looking at home safety, this is a common topic that we talk about. So diving into alternative locks. So there are locks like the August lock that you can unlock and lock just from an app on your phone. That would be ideal for somebody who has a hard time getting up and getting to the door. Smart locks that have a key code or even the biometric where you would use your fingerprint would be helpful, especially if you have somebody who is prone to forgetting their keys, they have poor dexterity to be able to manage the key, or if they have a lot of staff that are coming and going, and when that staff is no longer providing services, you could disable their code. Smart speakers, this is what you see here in this bottom left picture. That is an Alexa, or there's also Google are the most popular options. For this, you could pair a lot of your devices, such as the Ring, motion sensors, cameras, doorbells, etc., to this, and that way you would have it be able to announce to you. You can also receive weather updates on that, so if there's any terrible weather coming your way, and then you can also use this to set reminders for yourself to, hey, change the furnace filter at this date, or etc. Hardwired smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors are really great. The hardwire, which means that you wouldn't have to rely on a battery or change the battery. There are other smoke detectors that can give you a notification to your phone. You can even name certain smoke detectors so you can be labeled for where that one exists in the house. For someone who is deaf or hard of hearing, you could use strobe lights to also indicate when the smoke detector is going off, or a bed shaker alarm. A bed shaker alarm and a strobe light can also be used for things such as the alarm clock, or if the doorbell rings, or if other notifications are happening around the house. Emergency response pendant would be another thing to consider if you were looking at home safety, a way for them to contact somebody if they needed help. There are a couple different types of sensors. The motion sensor would be if motion was detected, maybe it would notify a caregiver or remote supports or activate a light. Pressure sensors, these are things you can put on like a chair or a bed to notify a caregiver if somebody was getting up maybe in the middle of the night. And then contact sensors, these are more of the window and door sensors where you would put a sensor on the door and on the door frame. And then when those become disconnected, they will siren or alarm. There's a couple different options for those. You can have a sensor that would chime right from the device itself, or there are some that you can plug into an outlet and then the sound would come out of the outlet that you have. So that would be ideal maybe in a common room or an area that is maybe if the bedroom is far away from where the staff or caregivers typically are. And they also have some that you can get notification through your phone if the contactor was detected. Cameras or video doorbells can also be a helpful resource for being safe at home. Again, on this Alexa, they are doing a drop-in call, so just kind of checking in, chit-chatting, catching up with one another, making sure everything is okay. The other picture is the Ring doorbell where you can see who is at your door. These doorbells are really helpful for somebody who has a hard time getting up and getting to the door maybe quickly. That may result in a trip or moving unsafely. I also like the idea of the doorbell because it allows you to talk to somebody without having to open the door to a stranger. If we know some individuals that might be easy to be taken advantage of or not really sure if it's a good, safe person to let in their house, they would be able to communicate with them without even putting the risk of having the door open for them to come inside. GPS tracking devices are also another good resource for home safety. There's a whole variety of them, including like the Life 360 app, tiles, the Angel Sense device, GPS tracking watches. So there's a whole variety of those options there. I will say that if you are using GPS tracking or cameras or any of those other devices, you might want to be mindful of human rights. You may have to go through the Human Rights Committee if you are utilizing them. The other picture on the top, that's from a company called Stay Safe at Home. They have a motion detector that can send notifications just to the caregiver anytime motion was detected or if motion was not detected. For example, if you're supposed to be up and ready to be out the door for work by 7 a.m. and they haven't even been to the bathroom yet, they would get a notification that motion was not detected in that room or in that location. The black outlet right there, that is a way to activate an outlet even if you're off of the Wi-Fi. So the example I like to give is every day I always question if I unplug my hair straightener. So if I have this outlet, I could just unplug or power off my outlet from my phone while I'm at work. And then the other one is a thermostat that you can manage. Again, if you're doing these outside of the house, you may want to talk about human rights to make sure that we're not infringing on their rights. Household management, so doing laundry or chores or things to take care of our house. Smart plug controls, or excuse me, smart home controls. This could be like the switch bot that can open and close your blinds or your curtains, or even another remote activated curtain closer. Smart plugs, you could plug things in there, such as a lamp, an appliance like the coffee pot, so you can have your coffee ready for you right away. Smart speakers. This is again Alexa or Google. You could use this to make a to-do list, set up reminders, alarms, timers, anything that you could use, ways that you can use that to help manage your household. There are all kinds of smart appliances, such as the smart washer and dryer, where it does all in one. The iGuard stove shutoff. This is that rectangle that you see in the top right. This would sit on the back of the stove, and it works with gas or electric, but it's a motion sensor built in there. So if you would set the time that you want the motion sensor to be detecting, and if no motion was detected in that period of time, it would automatically shut off the stove and the oven. There are smart vacuums and mops, robots you can use. Having grocery pickup or delivery makes a huge difference for some folks. Usually that's available at a low cost through a couple different resources to do that. If you're trying to read maybe cleaning labels or food labels, there are label readers or like PDF reader apps or scan pens or different things you can do to read your labels. The fridge cam is another option. You could put this in your refrigerator. And so if you're out and about at the store, you can open up the camera to see if you have a certain item if you're not really sure. And smart thermostats, these are ways that you can control your temperature of your house just by your voice or setting up routines, schedules to make it a little bit easier than some of the old school ones you have to push a bunch of buttons to figure out. Another useful resource for using an Alexa, if you're working on household management, and I'll kind of just tail into the next topic, but creating a shopping list can be really helpful. So if I go on Alexa, I can add things to my shopping list, and that way I have my list right with me all the time when I'm at the store. Or I can also use it to find recipes. So I can ask for a specific recipe, and I can look at all the options on there. And then if I find one I like, it'll show me all the ingredients I need. It'll show me all the steps, but I also have the option to listen to each step read out loud to me. For meal preparation, um, there's all kinds of different adaptive knives, such as the rocker knife, the nylon knives. There are finger guards to protect your fingers if you're cutting. The old-fashioned like food chopper or food processor you could use. A variety of adaptive cutting boards. The liquid level indicator is this orange on the top left. You can see one prong sticking out, but normally there would be two prongs. The other one is covered, but you'd put those prongs on the inside of your cup, and as liquid fills up, the prongs would get wet and they would beep and vibrate to let you know it's time to stop pouring. Moving on to pour thing, which is right next to that liquid level indicator. This is where you would put your juice or your milk or your water in this device. If you can see, they're flipping it forward and the juice is coming out. Another option that you can have is a drink dispenser, where you would take the cap off of that juice and you put the dispenser, like a straw, into the container, and the dispenser with a silicone top would sit on top. And there's a little trigger that you would push on that, and then the liquid would come right out of the dispenser into your cup. So you wouldn't have to even lift it up out of your refrigerator. There's a one-touch can opener, which is in the bottom right picture. You put this right on top of a can, push the button, and it goes around and opens itself. There's a robo twist, which can also help with opening jars, as well as a variety of other options for opening jars, such as like grippers or different like clamps that you can use to twist as well. Smart speakers, again, like that Alexa, that Google, you can look up recipes, but you can also use it to get information about different steps of what you're supposed to do. So if you run into a step and you're not really sure what it means to blanch or what it means to knead the dough, you can ask Alexa and it would give you a definition or description, and sometimes it even includes a video of how to do those things. The bottom left is a pull-down shelf. This is great for someone who is shorter or uses a wheelchair and has a hard time accessing the top shelves. This sits right up in your cabinet. You pull the bar down and it brings those top shelves right to easier to reach heights. Smart appliances, those can range from a microwave, coffee pot, all the way up to ovens or stovetops and refrigerators. Induction cookware is an option for somebody who is afraid of burning themselves or burning on the house. This cooktop, it's like a burner, but it doesn't get hot to the touch. It uses magnets to heat and conduct through special cookware that you would have to use. And so then the pan itself would get hot and cook the food. But if I were to accidentally touch the cooktop after I'm done cooking, maybe, or while I'm cooking, it's not going to burn my skin. Or if I leave like a towel nearby, it's not going to catch that on fire. But it usually also has the ability to adjust the intensity or the temperature in which you want to cook your food. So it takes up some of that guesswork. And lastly, we're going to go over social participation. We just grabbed a few options. So for someone who really likes to socialize and play cards with their buddies, you can get card holders. There, we made some with just two different food lids we put together and put a brad through them. You can also make them with pool noodles or tennis balls, or you can purchase them. There are things like card shufflers to make it a little bit easier to shuffle your cards. If you like to play board games, you can make game pieces bigger or a Velcro or a magnet to make it easier to keep your pieces in place. Someone who likes to maybe read or go out to eat with their friends, the C pen reader, scan marker, or the iris pen are all capable of scanning this marker over font and it would read them out loud to you. They have a dictionary built in them, excuse me, and can also work with headphones. Smart watches. There are some smart watches such as the TikTok that would be an introductory level. So if there's somebody who maybe is not ready for an actual phone yet, you could still use this watch for texting and video calls with a certain amount of approved contacts. Smart speaker, like we said, like the Alexa in that picture again, they're doing like that drop in. You can call somebody, be able to connect with them that way. Smartphones, tablets, or computers. There's all kinds of different smartphones out there, whether it be like the Android or the Apple or the Jitterbug. Now they even have phones like the Bark phone that can be a little bit more with more parental controls on them. If you have never looked at the accessibility features on your phone, your tablet, or your computer, I would encourage that you do that. There are a lot of accessibility features that are available on iOS and on Apple products or Android products where you can, at Google, you may have to download them, but ways that you can do like text to speech or speech to text or zoom in or modified touch. So if you have somebody who's having a hard time navigating their devices, there might be a easy, quick solution available for them in their device. The GrandPad and the Claris Companion are also some other alternatives for somebody who maybe is not ready for a phone or it's not appropriate for them. This picture is the Claris Companion. You have contacts on here that you invite to be your contact. You can do messaging, video messages, phone call. There are games you can play on here, and you can also access some websites. If you are interested in exploring some of these devices, if you're anywhere near Wood County, you could check out the Wood County Community on Aging, our BG Library, and the Way Public Library in Perrysburg. However, I would guess that there are a lot of resources available in maybe other community on aging or the libraries that you could look into, or AT Ohio or Ocala might be another resource as well. The community park systems, in Toledo area and Wood County, those have started to really develop their adaptive programming, but I've also heard in other places across the state, they have other adaptive resources available to ensure some participation. Some of the information available for this was through the Area Passport on Aging. But if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to us at the Wood County Board of DD. That email is remotesupport@woodcountydd.org. Thank you so much for attending. We always appreciate your participation. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.